My name is Frances Farrell. I am 32 years old, and 2 hours ago I signed a piece of paper that will cost my father everything he built. He does not know yet. Right now he is inside that house, straightening his tie, rehearsing a speech he wrote on a yellow legal pad. 25 family members are waiting at a long table with the good china and candles that Diane picked out. My dad has an announcement tonight, a framed certificate, a declaration, happy tears. I already know what he is going to say. I know because I found it on his desk 4 days ago. And what he wrote, about the daughter he always deserved, is the reason I drove to a lawyer's office this afternoon and put my name on 3 documents that will change this family forever. But here is what none of them know. The speech is not the worst part. What comes after the speech, what arrives in a white envelope 9 days from now, is something my father cannot undo, and he will have 90 days to figure out how. Welcome back to Calm Drama Stories, the place where family secrets unfold and quiet decisions change everything. If you are new here, drop a comment and be sure to subscribe so you never miss a story. Now, let us get into it. When I was 8 years old, my father drove me to a construction site on Route 9 in his pickup truck. It was a Saturday morning, early enough that the dew was still on the grass. He lifted me onto a stack of plywood and pointed at a steel beam running across the ceiling of a half-finished house. "You see that beam, Franny? That is what holds everything up. Without it, the whole thing falls. That is what you are going to be someday." I believed him. I believed everything he said back then. My father is Rick Farrell, owner of Farrell and Sons Construction. He started as a laborer at 19, took over the company from his father Harold at 31, and built it into the biggest residential contractor in Ridgewood County. My mother died when I was 7, ovarian cancer. She was 34. After she was gone, it was just me and my father and my grandfather Harold, who smelled like cedar shavings and kept butterscotch in his desk drawer. Harold was the one who held things together. He ran the books, negotiated the contracts, trained the crews. My father swung the hammer. Harold built the structure. Every Sunday after church, Harold would take me to his study. The desk was solid cedar, hand-built, with a brass lamp and a glass paperweight shaped like a bear. He would sit me on his lap and let me stamp invoices with the company seal. "Don't ever let anyone make you feel small in your own family," he told me once. I was 9. I did not understand it then. That was before Diane. My father met Diane Mitchell when I was 18, 2 weeks before I left for college. She was a receptionist at the dentist's office on Oak Street. She had a daughter named Megan from her first marriage. Megan was 8. Diane was warm, attentive. She brought my father casseroles, asked about his day, laughed at his jokes. She made him feel seen in a way he had not felt since my mother died. I understood that. I did not blame him for it. But Diane's warmth had a radius. It extended to my father, to Megan, to the neighbors she wanted to impress. It did not extend to me. Her smile changed when my father left the room. Not dramatically, not cruelly, just less. Like a lamp switched to a lower setting. "Frances, honey, Megan really needs her own space. Would you mind if we moved some of your things to the guest room?" This was 3 months after the wedding. My bedroom became Megan's craft room. My posters came down. Her butterfly stickers went up. The family photo on the mantel changed next. The one from my parents' wedding was replaced by a new one. Rick, Diane, Megan, and me at the county fair. Except I was standing on the far right, half a step behind everyone else. By Christmas that year, my face was 3 inches from the edge of the frame. By the next Christmas, there was a new frame entirely, a professional portrait. Rick, Diane, and Megan in matching blue sweaters. I was at college when they took it. Nobody told me. I found out when I came home for break and saw it hanging above the fireplace. I wanted to be a structural engineer. I had wanted it since that morning on Route 9 when my father pointed at the steel beam and told me I would be the thing that holds everything up. When I asked my father to help pay for college, he sat at the kitchen table and rubbed the back of his neck. Engineering? Franny, that is a tough field. Expensive too. Diane thinks maybe you should consider teaching. Steady hours. Good benefits. I looked at him. Diane thinks? We both think. I applied for every scholarship I could find. I worked nights at a copy center. I graduated with a degree in structural engineering from state, $37,000 in student loans, and $0 from my father. He came to my graduation. He sat in the 5th row with Diane and Megan. Megan played a game on Diane's phone the entire ceremony. After it was over, my father hugged me and said, "Proud of you, Franny. Knew you would figure it out." He left before the reception. Diane had dinner reservations. The phone calls got shorter after that. I would call on Sunday afternoons, and he would talk for 6 or 7 minutes before Diane reminded him about something, a show they were watching, an errand they needed to run. Every semester the phone calls got shorter. Every holiday, the excuses got longer. "Oh, Franny, we thought you were staying at school this Thanksgiving. Megan has a recital on Christmas Eve, so we are doing dinner early this year. Did I not tell you?" He always forgot to tell me, or someone made sure he forgot. My grandfather Harold died on a Tuesday in March. He was 79. Heart attack at the cedar desk in his study. They found him with his reading glasses still on and a half-finished cup of coffee next to the brass lamp. The funeral was held at First Baptist on Elm Street. 200 people came. Harold was the kind of man who remembered your kid's name and asked about your dog. The whole town showed up. Diane complained about the seating arrangement. "I just think immediate family should be in the front pew, Rick. Not cousins, not old friends. Immediate family." She meant herself and Megan. She did not mean me. Aunt Patrice, my father's older sister, moved me to the front pew herself without saying a word. After the service, Harold's attorney pulled me aside. His name was Martin Cope, a quiet man in a brown suit who had represented Harold for 30 years. "Your grandfather left something for you, Francis. 40% of Farrell and Sons Construction, held in a trust." I stared at him. "The trust vests when you turn 30. Until then, the shares are locked. Your father knows the trust exists, but not the specifics." Martin handed me a sealed envelope. Inside was a single sheet of paper in Harold's handwriting. "Your father is a good man with a weak spine. This 40% is your seat at the table. Don't give it up for anyone." I was 24. I had 6 years before any of it mattered. I folded the letter, put it in my coat pocket, and walked past Harold's study on the way out. The cedar desk was still there. The brass lamp was still on. On my 30th birthday, I drove to Martin Cope's office and signed the paperwork that made the trust official. 40% of Farrell and Sons Construction was now mine. Not on paper in a drawer. Mine in the state registry, the tax filings, the LLC operating agreement. Martin walked me through the agreement. It was 43 pages long, drafted by Harold and an attorney named Judith Greenwald in 1999. Harold had paid Judith separately. My father had signed the agreement without reading past page 4. "Clause 7.3, Martin said, tapping the page. "This is the one your grandfather wanted you to know about." I read it twice. "Voluntary relinquishment by any member triggers mandatory buyback at independently appraised fair market value. Remaining members must complete buyback within 90 calendar days or forfeit operational control to a court-appointed trustee." Martin leaned back. "Your grandfather wrote that clause specifically to protect you. If you ever chose to leave the company, They would have to pay you fair value for your shares. They cannot simply absorb them. And if they cannot pay? Then the LLC restructures under court supervision. Your father would lose day-to-day control. I sat with that for a long time. The office was quiet. Traffic hummed on Caldwell Street below. I hope I never need this, I said. Martin nodded. Harold hoped the same thing. I filed the agreement in a fireproof box in my closet. 2 years passed. I designed bridges and parking garages and hospital wings. I paid off my student loans. I bought a condo 45 minutes from Ridgewood. I did not think about Clause 7.3. Not yet. I tried. I want that on the record. I tried for 2 years. When I turned 30, I emailed my father. Dad, I would like to discuss my role in the company. Can we set up a time to talk? He replied 4 days later. Sure, Franny, let's talk soon. Soon never came. I called Diane and proposed a family dinner. Rick has been so stressed lately, she said. Maybe next month? Next month turned into the month after that, which turned into silence. I invited my father to lunch 3 times. He canceled the first. He forgot the second. The third time, he showed up 20 minutes late, ate half a sandwich, and left when Diane texted that Megan needed a ride. 14 minutes. That was our longest conversation in 2 years. I sent a formal letter. Not legal, just clear. I outlined my position in the company. I asked for quarterly meetings. I asked to be included in financial reviews. I sent it by email and by certified mail. My father forwarded the email to Diane. I know this because Diane called me the next day. Francis, why are you creating drama? Can't you see your father is happy? He doesn't need this stress. If you want to be part of the family, just show up and be pleasant. I am trying to show up, Diane. Nobody answers the door. She hung up. 14 emails, 3 voicemails, 2 certified letters, 0 responses, 0 meetings, 0 acknowledgement that I owned 40% of a company that paid my father's mortgage, funded Megan's car, and kept the lights on at 27 job sites across Ridgewood County. The text came on a Wednesday. From my father, which was unusual. He normally communicated through Diane. Father's Day dinner, Sunday the 15th, 6 p.m. Be there. The whole family. Dad. I read it 3 times. My father had not personally invited me to anything in over a year. I called Aunt Patrice. He is planning something, Patrice said. Diane has been organizing for weeks. New tablecloth, candles, the good silverware. She even hired a photographer. A photographer? For a Father's Day dinner? Honey, I do not know what they are planning, but it is not just dinner. I hung up, sat on my couch, looked at the fireproof box in my closet. I had a feeling, not proof, not certainty. Just a slow, heavy feeling in my chest like the moment before a beam test when you know the load is too much, but you have not heard the crack yet. I called Martin Cope. Martin, if I ever decide to exercise Clause 7.3, the voluntary relinquishment, how fast can you prepare the paperwork? There was a pause. I can have everything drafted, reviewed, and ready for signature by Thursday. Thursday of this week? Thursday of this week. I looked at the calendar on my kitchen wall. Today was Wednesday. The dinner was Sunday. Thursday was tomorrow. Draft it, I said. I am not saying I will sign. I just want it ready. Understood. I will have it on my desk by noon. I hung up, took a shower, made dinner, sat at my small table and ate pasta alone, the way I had eaten dinner alone most nights for the past 14 years. Thursday works, I thought. Thursday works. Thursday came. Martin's paperwork sat in a manila folder on his desk. I did not sign it. Not yet. Friday, I drove to my father's house. Aunt Patrice had asked for help setting up decorations, and Diane insisted that the whole family pitch in. I took that to mean she needed someone to carry folding chairs from the garage. The house smelled like lemon cleaner and Diane's perfume. Megan was in the living room, talking on the phone. She did not acknowledge me when I walked past. In the dining room, I saw the table already set for 25, name cards at every seat. I looked for mine. It was at the far end, between a cousin I had not spoken to in 3 years and an empty chair. My father's seat was at the head. Megan's card was to his right, Diane's to his left. I carried the chairs. I hung the banner. I said nothing. Then I walked past the kitchen counter and saw it. A new picture frame. Gold-edged. Ornate. The kind you would use for something you wanted people to notice. It was empty, but a small white card inside read, Certificate of Adoption, State of North Carolina. Next to it, I heard Megan's voice from the other room. She was laughing. I know, I am so excited, it is going to be official. On the counter behind the frame was an envelope from the county courthouse. The return address said, In the matter of adult adoption, petition filed. I set the last folding chair against the wall. I picked up my keys. I drove 45 minutes home without turning on the radio. Saturday morning, I stopped by Aunt Patrice's house. She lives in a yellow ranch on Birch Lane, 4 blocks from my father. She has lived there since before I was born. We sat at her kitchen table with coffee. She pushed a plate of cinnamon rolls toward me and said, Francis, I need to show you something. She went to the hallway and came back with a photograph. It was a new family portrait. Rick, Diane, and Megan, taken at a studio. Professional lighting, matching outfits. The same photo now hanging in my father's living room. I was not in it. When was this taken? March, I think. Diane posted it on Facebook. I looked at the photo for a long time. 3 people. A family unit. Complete. No gap. No empty space where a 4th person should have been. I asked your father about it, Patrice said. She stirred her coffee. He said you preferred not to be in photos. I never said that. I know you did not. We sat in silence. The clock above the stove ticked. Outside, a lawnmower droned. Patrice reached across the table and put her hand on mine. Honey, what are you going to do? I do not know yet. That was not entirely true. Martin's paperwork was sitting in a folder on his desk. The pen was waiting. The notary was booked. But I wanted to be wrong. I wanted to walk into that dinner and have my father look at me, really look at me, and say something that meant he still knew I existed. I am going to go to the dinner, I said, and I am going to see what happens. Patrice squeezed my hand. She did not let go for a long time. 2 weeks before Father's Day, Cousin Nathan hosted a barbecue at his place on Sycamore Court. Burgers, horseshoes, kids running through a sprinkler. Normal stuff. I arrived late, parked behind Nathan's truck and walked around the side of the house to the backyard. The gate was open. I could hear music and voices. Megan was standing near the grill with 3 of our cousins. She was holding a soda can, talking fast, the way she does when she is excited about something. I was maybe 10 feet away, close enough to hear every word. It is going to be official, Megan said. Dad is adopting me, like, legally. Diane already filed the papers. Cousin Claire said something I could not hear. Megan shrugged. I mean, Francis? She was never really part of this family anyway. She barely comes around. She doesn't even work for the business. I stopped walking. Megan looked up, saw me. She did not flinch. She did not apologize. She held my eyes for 2 full seconds and then shrugged again. I mean, it is true though. Cousin Nathan coughed. Claire looked at the ground. Nobody spoke. I set my paper plate on the edge of the picnic table. I had not put anything on it yet. I turned and walked back to my car. Megan did not call after me. Nobody did, for about 30 seconds. Then I heard Nathan say, "Megan, that was out of line." And Megan say, "What?" She knows it is true. I sat in my car, hands on the steering wheel at 10 and 2. The engine was off. She was never really part of this family anyway. I drove home. I called Martin. "What time can I come in on Friday?" The following Tuesday, I went to my father's office at the Farrell and Sons compound on Industrial Drive. I had quarterly paperwork to drop off, tax documents that needed his signature as majority operator. I had been doing this twice a year since Harold died. It was the only reason I ever went to the office. The front desk was empty. Joanne, the receptionist, was on lunch. I walked down the hall to my father's office. The door was open. On his desk, next to a coffee mug and a stack of invoices, sat the framed certificate. Gold frame. Elegant calligraphy on cream paper. Certificate of Adoption, State of North Carolina. Megan's full name. My father's full name. A line for the judge. A line for my father's signature. Megan had already signed. Next to the certificate was a yellow legal pad. My father's handwriting, a draft of a speech. I should not have read it, but I did. Family means everything to me, and today, on this Father's Day, I want to tell all of you that I am finally making it